Here's a question for you, Herman. What do you think about a character? There are tipping points, points of no return. Can you take a character, have them just descend into worse and worse, make them utterly hateable, and then at what point do you think you can no
Darth
longer
Vader?
turn them around for redemption? At what point do you go, okay, the closest this guy could get to redemption now is to sacrifice himself? There's no coming back for this guy. What's that? Page count?
Yeah, basically, how close are you to the end of the story?
Oh no, this isn't anything specific in the story. It's just an idea that popped to mind. It's like, how much can you make someone hate a character before you're unable to have that character be redeemed in the reader's eyes? And there's a very subjective moving line, probably. I just thought it'd be fun to hear opinions on this.
Sometimes you can. Very rarely can you do that.
Well, yeah, but I'm wondering, like, at what point of nastiness do you reach where it's like, okay, now it's too far. You can't redeem this character.
Well, I mean, if you start trying to do stuff that, if you spent 3/4 of the book showing this guy descending further and further and further into, detestable territory, they're not, unless for some reason they have like this instant moment of clarity or a moment where they're confronted somehow with the things that they've done wrong, you have to be consistent with the character. Otherwise, you're bending the story around the character as opposed to character around the story.
I do have a character that does follow something like that, but the difference is he had a whole book going down, then has a whole book coming, not back up, but turning in a bit of a different direction.
Yeah, but I mean,
but that's like that's like year separation, and that's not. I was talking about more of, do you reach a point where, okay, this character can only be hated now, no matter what? I mean, how evil does he have to be when you reach that point? Where's that tipping point?
Well, I think it's not so much the tip. Go ahead.
Under the age of 18, I'd say.
Oh, well, stuff like that. Yeah, that's definitely tipping point area. But
I mean, I think that the thing is that if you're going to have a turnaround, you have to show fragments and see. You have to kind of like plant seeds that there is still some humanity there.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, if you have this moment of clarity, there's nothing to anchor that to earlier in your story. So you have to drop seeds. It's kind of like basically the moment of clarity is the character twist.
You could have a fun story where someone's delving further and further, and then by the time they start realizing what they've become, what they're doing, it's too late.
No, I mean, the thing is that the thing is about in every one of these instances where they sort of like wind themselves down into a living hell, there's never the realization, in my opinion, there's never the realization that what they're doing is wrong.
I'm just saying you can have a good story on that concept.
That's what Breaking Bad is.
I like the idea that villains
Not
like that
really
can
on
come
Breaking
dangerously
Bad.
close to that realization, but at the last minute they turn away from it. I'm a big fan of that idea.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, not really. Just Walter. Well, originally the writers weren't, or Vince Gilligan wasn't intending Walter to be evil. And as they went through the series, they're like, all right, we're just going to change it where,
well, that's why that's the Breaking Bad series.
And the ability to be evil.
But that's basically it. Like it began with him thinking he was going to die, leaving Cash behind. Now strictly it, and then he gets addicted to the empire building.
Yeah,
I agree with Bruno there. Though, is like there are certain things that give away that a character is not coming back. Yes,
it's really
So, what determines that not coming back point? Like, how do you know where that line is?
I think ambition is one of those characteristics.
Well, for any of you who have read The Perils of Sasha Reed, I think Blood Eagle very well fits that kind of character. He's that kind of character where you're like, yeah, this isn't a guy that's going to ever turn around.
Oh, the other thing, too, is when they have that moment of clarity and they completely ignore it and keep going. That's another way.
Yeah.
because that would mean the thing is about everybody who carries their sins with them at one point or another. They begin to realize how much baggage that they have and how much they'd have to carry back the other way. And so sometimes it's just easier to drop your baggage and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Yes, King Bob. Are we the baddies?
Or if they're just too far along, like there's another thing is the plot. You know, some aspects of the plot simply will not allow them to move back without essentially sacrificing everything, which is usually including their life and or future.
Well, I mean, you can also have them be in denial where they get the clarification, then they're like, "Fuck, I've already committed."
Yeah. Or another thing is they're just plain freaking true believers. And there's nothing you're going to do or say to change them. And they're headlong off the cliff.
40K style, baby.
Yep.
Now there's King Bob with Shiny. Let's be bad guys.